97.3 Citi FM. It doesn't get any better than that.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. Citi News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
It's 17:30 GMT. Welcome to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. My name is Akosia Oche. Coming up over the next 1 hour, 30 minutes.
The staff level agreement has confirmed our suspicions that the government manipulated the fiscal data to achieve political objectives and to support the earlier claims by the president that the economy he inherited was run down.
Minority caucus in Parliament accuses government of manipulating fiscal data for political gain following the announcement of a staff-level agreement by the International Monetary Fund. Also coming up, Mayor of Kumasi comes under fire following threats to beat hawkers who sell on pavements.
When we say leave this space and you don't leave this space and I get there, I am not lucky and my boys are with me there, and then we'll beat you there in the middle of a doom.
And later, thousands of people to lose their jobs following the shutdown of diamond mines on April 18. And later in business, government reaffirms commitment to implement structural reforms under IMF deal despite some delays. Well, stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more of this and other stories on Eyewitness News. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. You can also listen to us via our partner stations in the Western region. You can listen to us on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In the Bono region, we are live on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, you can tune into Adrimpa 99.9 FM in Inkaria. In the Volta region, Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi. And in Sogakwape, you can listen to us via Freedom FM 88.1 FM. In the northern region, we are live on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba. In the Upper East region, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the northeast region, we are live on Nobia FM 98.1 FM in Nalerugu. I am Akosia Oche. Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 0549986996. Now let's do some stories. We're starting off from the minority in Parliament, where the caucus is urging the government to provide additional support to traders affected by recent market fires through the contingency fund. Well, the appeal was made after the caucus donated 200,000 cedis to victims of the Kantamanto market fire, which destroyed properties in Accra on January 2, 2025. Well, during a visit to the scene, the minority caucus, led by its leader, Alexander Penyomarking, called for swift government intervention.
We appeal to the government to extend support to the affected traders. In the approved budget, provisions were made for the contingency fund to assist citizens in times of need, and we trust that these resources will be used to support you. We also urge banks and companies that have extended loans to you to waive all interest charges to ease the burden of repayment.
Interest na za oda hono wona wo bo ho bosia no so wo bo hwe na we interest no do na mo so mwetum mo aja hom kakra.
So that was leader of the MPP caucus in Parliament, Alexander Penyomarking, and he has also been calling on members of the New Patriotic Party to refrain from airing internal grievances through the media.
Intimacy Sesiara on Cherbiara party no be impanyfo e wo constituency e wo region na national
We will soon hold our internal party elections, and we appeal to all members to maintain peace and unity throughout the process. We are one family, and it is important that we refrain from attacking each other on radio or in public. As members of parliament, we remain committed to acting in your best interest and demonstrating that the NPP offers the best leadership.
That was Alexander Penyumakin, Minority Leader of Parliament.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Gugomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same right. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind self be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
Go, the go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Did you know that the UK and Europe offer some of the best high-paying jobs and career opportunities for Ghanaians? But first, you would need to understand the UK and Europe job market, the courses that are in high demand, and the universities that offer the best partial scholarships. Now, Best Education Services warmly invites you to the 2025 UK and Europe Education and Career Fair this April. Come and apply instantly for admissions into courses with paid internship and high graduate employment, partial scholarship from universities and courses sponsored under UK government scholarship schemes. Special opportunities exist for people interested in healthcare, social work, construction, engineering, multimedia communications, and information technology. Come and learn about the UK post-study work visa and pathway to the skills worker visa. The date, 22nd April 2025. Time is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Venue is Ibis Style Hotel, Airport City. Best Education UK and Europe Education and Career Fair is free, so register now by calling or WhatsApping 025 629 9707.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
97.3 Citi FM is a station. Eyewitness News is a program. I am Umaru Sandamad here with Akusia Ochre. Tonight we are focusing on the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Now the government has announced, and indeed the IMF has also said, that there's been an agreement, a staff level agreement between the government of Ghana and the International Monetary Fund on the fourth review of Ghana's 3-year extended credit facility supported program. This statement was made by the chef de mission, or the mission chief for Ghana, Stefan Rudet, who said he was in Accra for over 10 days to assess Ghana's progress on key policy reforms and economic targets. He spoke at a press briefing. Let's listen to him.
The importance of those adjustments to strengthen the SOEs in the sector and make sure that public finances as overall are sustainable, and on the other side, the implication that it has, especially for the most vulnerable. And I think when we discuss with the authorities, we very much focus on these two aspects. So think about the electricity price increase that the PORC has announced recently. On one side, it is very necessary to strengthen the position of ECG, so that ECG in turn is able to pay its bills to the energy, to the power producers, and that in turn you, as Ghanaians, continue to have access to electricity on a continuous basis. So it's very critical from that standpoint. from the standpoint of the implications on the poor, on the most vulnerable in Ghana.
So that's the International Monetary Fund Mission Chief for Ghana, Stefan Rudes, speaking at a press briefing. Now, the minority side in Parliament has issued a statement almost immediately after this announcement. The statement is signed by former Finance Minister and MP for Karaga, who is a ranking member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. A summary of that statement suggests that the minority feels vindicated. Exactly why? Let's speak to Ofuasi Ayeribe, Member of Parliament, former Minister for Works and Housing, who is a ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee. Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, you're welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Thank you, Sanda. Good evening.
Good evening to you. What is the vindication in this?
Well, you'll recall that we had articulated a number of views about the status of the Ghanaian economy, about the fact that the real sector of the Ghanaian economy had grown better than was even targeted or programmed, about the fact that on the external sector we were doing better in terms of the accumulation of forex than was programmed, that the financial sector was becoming a lot more robust than had previously been inherited, that our debt situation was improving, among others. Yesterday, when we met with the fund, the Joint Committees of Finance and Economy met with the fund as part of their consultations. The discussions and the views they gave us culminated in what we saw they had issued today, which essentially says that the real sector is developed way stronger than was anticipated. The external sector has accumulated a lot more buffers than was previously thought. This is contrary to what the government had tried to make everybody believe, that they didn't inherit buffers. But the financial sector was a lot more robust now. They also made the point that our debt position is better, and therefore we are on track to achieving the 55% debt to GDP ratio by 2028. They disagreed with the government's initial view that the fiscal primary balance was in a deficit of 3.9. Remember, we said that the government was manipulating the data. They disagreed with the government. They even used the government's new formula for calculating it and said that even if they use that formula, it's not 3.9, like the president and the finance minister were to believe, and that the worst will be 3.25, even if they use the government's, may I say, new formula for calculating. And then they go on to say that overall, Ghana is on track, and that's why they will reach a staff level agreement with us. And that's why we believe that the government has to consistently stay true to the economic record and rather work towards improving it rather than seeking to undermine it.
The House of Parliament is a house of records, and if you told a lie there, that amounts to perjury. Depends on under what circumstance you appear there to make the statement that you make. You're suggesting then that the government came to your house and peddled falsehood or gave you figures which are not accurate. Is that what you're suggesting? And this is intended to score a political point?
Exactly so. You remember that right after the finance minister had sought to suggest that they had adjusted the numbers by some 49 billion, which would then take us into deficits of 3.9%. We held a press conference and we drew the attention of the Ghanaian public that that cannot be true, and that the exercise that the finance minister was doing had the risk of announcing a breach of the terms of the IMF program. The fund, when they came in and reviewed the numbers, said two things. A, yes, there were fiscal slippages, but B, even if they use the government's formula for calculating, it cannot be 3.9. At worst, it will be 3.25, even if they use the government's formula for calculating. They, however, put that together with everything else that we had already said about the Ghanaian economy, which was true, and based on that, they have passed us. And this is evidence that the initial attempt by the government to say that this was a criminally mismanaged economy, this economy was a crime scene, etc., is not upheld by the data. And that is why we said that it was not even important for them to say that they were going to organize a conference to find the true state of the economy. The true state of the economy is borne out by the data. What they have to do as a government is to try to build on it, and not every turn and at every corner seek to find ways of undermining the progress that the Ghanaian economy has made.
The takeaway headline, and I'm appealing not to your journalistic side, is that government has secured some sort of agreement with the IMF, but you are essentially saying that credit should go to the Akufo-Addo government and not the Mahama government. Is that correct?
No, that's not what we've said. The government of Ghana is a continuum. We are saying that, yes, the government has secured an SLA with the IMF. That SLA is evidence of the work that Ghana as a country has made over the years. It was they who were trying very hard to split the Ghana record and try and undermine the progress and the data. And thankfully, the fund has, in this statement they've put out, exposed the fact that those claims cannot be upheld by the data. If indeed the fund were to go along with what they were saying, that would have amounted to a breach. By now, the fund would be announcing that Ghana has breached the program. Thankfully, the fund did not agree with them.
Okay, now we are talking about an IMF that has come to town to observe things for itself. And this is a progress report on what you left behind. Clearly, something right is being done, or there's a driver who is driving the country in a certain direction which the IMF is applauding. Should that not be the consideration and the bigger picture we should be looking at?
That does not need to derogate from the fact that a lot of progress was made. I make the point once again that it was their attempt to try to undermine the economic data so that they could score political points that has now been walked back or exposed by the fund. We are happy when Ghana makes progress between MPP and NDC. They were the ones who were trying to split hairs. And thankfully, the fund now makes the point clearly that we are on track.
As a student of economics, I'm sure you've heard, and I don't know if you believe same, that we should try and wean ourselves from the IMF. From what the mission chief has said, Ghana is now eligible for a new disbursement of some, $370 million in financial support. This is like a continuous having of the noose of the IMF around our necks. I don't know what you make of that. Celebration, no?
So, first of all, Ghana as a republic has to work to the point where we build enough shock absorbers in our economy so that when global challenges come, we are not so heavily affected that we have to go to the fund for a balance of payment supported program. Yesterday at the meeting that we had with the fund, and all other members who were there will bear me witness, the fund itself said that Ghana is making progress, but we are still vulnerable to international shocks. And that it is important for Ghana to continuously be on this path and build enough buffers so that should something bigger than what hit us happen again, we don't have to go and look for a balance of payment support. You recall that quite recently the governor of the central bank, even the president, have all been running scared that the tariff wars could deliver such shocks to the Ghanaian economy that the progress made could be reversed. So I think the theory holds true that we have to continuously work to build enough buffers so that we do not have to go for such help, even if global challenges or global shocks come in. But this 370 is part of the bigger program that was negotiated. To be fair to the government, it's not new negotiations or new money. It is just the disbursement of one of the tranches of what was initially arranged under the 3 billion ECF.
What that means that to amount to economic suicide, if we said we're going to wean ourselves now, it would be premature.
May I say, the economic medication that we are taking to get out of the challenge in which we found ourselves requires this dose. Very soon, this economic program that we're getting from the fund, or this of that we're getting from the fund, will be over. And the expectation is that by that time, we would have been on a path that is clean and a path that if we sustain, we should not be going back again.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you so much.
That's Honorable Kojo Ponkroma. He's Member of Parliament for Fuasia Yerebi. He's ranking member on the Committee of Economy and Development in Parliament. Let's go on the other phone line and speak to NDC Member of Parliament for Sanarigo, the Honorable Issa Atta. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Honorable Atta, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Maro. Thank you for the opportunity.
Your colleague from Karaga, former Finance Minister, says when your current minister, and when I say you, that also includes me, of course, Minister of State for the Republic of Ghana, Kezala Tufosin, said in the budget that the NPP government, the previous administration, breached the IMF program by missing key targets on primary fiscal balance. That could not be true. That couldn't be any further from the truth, because now the IMF coming to say that you're on track means that they were on track too. What do you say to that?
Okay, so first of all, let me say good evening to your listeners. It is important to state emphatically, yesterday, the Finance Committee met with the fund, and I heard my colleague for Fuasia Yerebi make the assertion that the fund subscribed to the fiscal position that they left for the new NDC government. Let me state this categorically. One, the IMF, we must understand the background as to why we went to the IMF. In 2022, you had an inflation rate of 54%, and you had your exchange depreciated by 36.8%, and then a crunch in the financial sector. This was the circumstances Ghana found itself that led us to the IMF. So yesterday when we met the IMF, this was very clear. Number one, he talked about the real sector growth. The IMF didn't say that it is as a result of the MPP performance that led to the 5.7% GDP growth we saw. The IMF stated, which is corroborated by what was stated by the finance minister, that Ghana improved our real GDP to 5.7%, largely due to mining inquiry of 19.1% increase. And the MPP has no performance when it comes to the gold sector, because Ghana has a participatory interest of 13% and royalties of 5%. So it means that most of even the drivers of the growth were due to the external sector. Number two, he talked about improved external sector growth or the results for the country. The IMF also raises concern with our external sector performance because we suspended debt repayment in 2022, 2023, and 2024. So you will naturally have accumulation of external currencies because you have suspended the payment of external sector debt. Then the IMF also were worried, despite saying that Ghana has performed considerably from 2023 up to date, but they were suspicious of the fact that we can reverse back to the fiscal distress we came from, largely because of the debt accumulation. My brother talked about debt sustainability issues. The IMF was worried about the quantum of debt we have led to in the energy sector, $1.77 billion. ECG alone owes $68 billion. They left us a total debt as a country, 726 billion Ghana cedis. You can't talk about debt sustainability when you have this staggering number of debt accumulation. Then finally, on primary deficit, my brother, yesterday, the meeting with the IMF was inconclusive. And the reason was that the minority side of the committee left the meeting because they raised issues on creative accounts, let me call it that way, because they were suggesting that when you do aging reports, the total amount of money that we added to the deficit figure of 49.3 billion was not supposed to be part. The IMF disagreed. And I'm surprised my colleague is raising issues of IMF agreeing with them. The IMF disagreed and rather stated that it is not in their mind to state which debt is classified as a country is called a primary deficit or what. What they were interested in is this validated? And the response we got was that the 49.3 billion Ghana cedis was validated. And once it was validated, the IMF has no interest in that. And they even left the committee. And the second reason was that they heard in the news or in the rumor that government is planning to cede back some revoked licenses of some banks. And they were suggesting that the fund disagrees with the position of government. And they wanted the IMF position on the government decision to return the revoked licenses to the banks. IMF said that this is government strategy and they will not be part of such a discussion. And that was how the meeting ended inconclusively. So for me, what is only important after this fourth review is that we must continue with our fiscal consolidation method and we must allow the finance minister. He has brought a lot of austerity measures that is not intended to burden the already suffering Ghanaians, but intended to drive the mining sector. Number one, under the MPP government, before they left parliament, they awarded a contract to 195 billion Ghana cedis without commencement certificate. The IMF stated that they appreciate the new amendment that we have done to the Public Procurement Act that says that before any contract is awarded to any citizen of this country or any external partner, the person must have authorization from the finance minister. So it means that you don't just go and start a contract when you know there is no budget provision for that. That is one way of the fiscal consolidation that the IMF saluted us for. The second one was the establishment, the creative establishment of the gold board. I was particularly privileged because during the appropriation bill, the approval of the appropriation bill, the minority left the chamber. And one of the reasons why they left was that we were given excessive power to the newly created gold board. The IMF yesterday lauded the intention and the objectives as stated in the memorandum by the gold board. And for me, I am happy that we are on point. And if this country were still in the MPP government, I can tell you, we would have been back to the fiscal distress position we had in 2022.
Okay. Now, your government is just barely 3 months since you took office. Clearly, you cannot be taking all the credit, can you? Because the foundation must have been right, even if it was wobbly, for which reason we are seeing the positives that the IMF is showering on your head. Don't you agree?
I agree. I'll be a hypocrite if I say that all the successes that we have shown so far is just a 3-month-old success. One thing I would rather urge you and other listeners is that, one, this is the only President Akufo-Addo is the only president who inherited an IMF economy and led the economy and IMF economy before exiting office. When you are signed up to a program, most of the policies that you bring must be verified and approved by the board. And so you cannot just give the credit to only an MPP government or an NDC government, but a collective progress. I am saying that the country is only one. Government is a continuum. When you look at Article 36 of our Constitution, every government adds up to what has been left by the previous government. So this is not a day for us to be doing politics. It's a day that we must celebrate. And yesterday, I asked the board, have they done a social impact analysis after the fiscal consolidation measures that they imposed on Ghana? And yesterday I was happy because they said that the MPP did well in terms of fiscal consolidation. But NDC is doing better because when you look at the pro-poor policies that we are doing, even in difficulties that we are faced as a country, you can talk about the sanitary part, the apprenticeship program, all those things, and removal of taxes. The IMF saw the creativity that the finance ministry is using, saying that you are reducing tax handles at the same time, be conscious of fiscal consolidation, at the same time supporting the livelihoods of the poor people. So for me, I know that the NDC should get the credit as well as the MP who just left office to also get the credit in terms of how we manage this IMF program. And I only urge that this should be the last time as a country we cede our sovereignty to external partners. We have the brains in this country. Why is it that for 17 times consecutively, every government in the last 3 decades have one way or the other signed up to the IMF program? And I think that it calls for us to reflect as a nation and to make sure that this becomes the last time that we approach the IMF again.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
That's Member of Parliament for Sanergu and Member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Honorable Issa Atta. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. The IMF, that's not all. The mission chief for Ghana, Stephen Rude, justified the recent tariff adjustments confirmed by the PRC, describing them as essential to strengthening the fiscal positions of state-owned enterprises, particularly the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, this comes after the PURC, that's the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, announced a 14% increase in average end-user electricity tariffs and a 4% rise in water tariffs across all consumer categories under its quarterly tariff review for the first and second quarters of 2025. Let's listen to Stephen Rude again.
The importance of those adjustments to strengthen the SOEs in the sector and make sure that public finances as overall are sustainable, and on the other side, the implication that it has, especially for the most vulnerable. And I think when we discuss with the authorities, we very much focus on these two aspects. So think about the electricity price increase that the PURC has announced recently. On one side, it is very necessary to strengthen the position of ECG so that ECG in turn is able to pay its bills to the energy, to the power producers, and that in turn you as Ghanaians continue to have access to electricity on a continuous basis. So it's very critical from that standpoint. From the standpoint of the implications on the poor, on the most vulnerable in Ghana.
That's the head of IMF mission to Ghana, or the mission chief or chef de mission to Ghana, Stephen Rude. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Polytank is everywhere, durable and authentic. Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more super. And the Polytank, we did Polytank. Papa no no, papa no no no, papa no no, papa no no no, papa no no, Ankasa. Polytank, the original, always the best.
Charlie, where are you?
Bossman, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
LPG I am from a jar and hotse. Nanso se ehu beti amawa aji se wudi edi dwuma yie. Ansa na wo beso wuja no. Hwea na hwe se mframaja ho nka biara enje ho. Se wote mframaja ho pampa na buebue apono ne mpoma no nyina eba ne saa a menso ana me enum biara edi enyina mahoden eye adwuma. Dundum eja biara waso wo ho. Na frɛ onimdifo mano mmehwe ma wo. Fa semina nsuo gu mframaja tontruwa no ano. Se wo ehuro a natural se etue ampa ta ehwe se droban na etwe mframaja no hu ntue na ta isesa droban no acha preko mfie mienu biara echi hwe se abri biara wo be soja no wo be pa wo matches ansa na waso wo stove hwe se mframaja ne ho asode no adum abri biara wo mfandi dwuma biara nkratoyi a free National Petroleum Authority aswe.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Akosia has our next story.
Yes, the Member of Parliament for Daboya Karigu, Alhaji Mahama Shaibu, says the process to allow the general public elect their metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives is far advanced and currently before the Parliamentary Constitutional Committee. He made this known during the confirmation of the North Gunja District Chief Executive Abdullah Nashiru, who received unanimous approval from both Assembly members and government appointees.
This may be the last time we will endorse a DC. Indeed, I can say on authority, as chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, that this will be the last time that we will endorse a DC. Indeed, the next round, we will elect DCs, just as you elect members of Parliament. Let me confirm that to you. There is a lot already on my table in this regard.
That was Member of Parliament for Daboya Karigu constituency, Alhaji Mahama Shaibu. Now, away from that, the government has justified its decision to reject Goldfields Limited's application to renew the Daman mining lease for another 30 years. Or the lease held by its subsidiary, Aboso Goldfields Limited, since 1995 is set to expire on April 18, 2025. On speaking on the City Breakfast Show, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Isaac Tando, explained that Goldfields Limited failed to comply with explicit instructions to engage the Commission regarding the lease extension.
We cannot continue as business as usual. We need to get better value for Ghana. So if you have any better proposition for us as Ghanaians, go and sit with Mineral Commission. That has not happened. So I don't understand. Instead, they were rather writing some letters up and down to minister. I mean, it was a clear instruction. If you have a better proposition, go and sit with Minerals Commission and let's look at it and see whether the proposition whose Ghanaians have had. You didn't do that. Instead, it was some of the letters, along the line, I'm sure would pop up, and you see the kind of language and tone that they were even writing to the authorities of Ghana. That we won't condone, we won't entertain. Those who have their agreement, we will support them to do their work. But when your agreement is over and you have a better proposition, we will look at it. If not, we take over as a state.
The Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Isaac Tando, also discredited claims that the government seeks to secure the deal for its cronies.
So in all the meetings I have been, in all the discussions we've had, even to the highest level, we are looking at the state running the mine, not giving to any cronies.
Wonderful. So how soon will we know clearly? Because 18th April is probably, 5 days from today. So from 19th April, would that mine still be a going concern?
We have a couple of meetings lined up today, tomorrow. I'm sure the picture will be clearer, and I'll be happy to brief you after all this. But what we know is Ghana deserves better. And every decision we want to take, we will take it in the interest of the people of Ghana.
That was Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Isaac Tando.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, this situation of the non-renewal of the contract of Daman Mines, how bad is it? Abdul Mumin Gbana is General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union. Sir, how bad is a situation, the non-renewal of the license at this Goldfields concession? Hello, Abdul? Abdul, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Great.
Good evening to you. Listeners.
Great. This issue of job losses, how bad is it?
Well, it's bad. It's bad in every front. It's bad in every front. From the workers' side, from the investor community side, from the Daman and the adjoining, villages, given the fact that the growth of Daman mine was a major growth pool around which the domestic economy of that area revolved. And so it's bad in every front. So at the workers' level, I'm pretty sure that the numbers have been bundled around here and there. But the truth of the matter is that there are direct workers of Goldfield and there are contractors who work directly for Goldfield as well. And I can put a number at about 1,000. And so clearly, if you look at the numbers who are going to be impacted and the direct implications on their families and all of that, on every front, the decision is a decision that requires a bit of circumspection. We need to be a bit cautious in terms of the policy direction that we intend as a state to embark on. Because at the end of the day, we must always remember that it's a global village. Resource nationalization has been the new flavor virtually everywhere now. But in doing all of that, you must also be mindful of the fact that it cannot be done overnight. You need to coexist with others, but have a plan that over time, if indeed that is the intention of government, you are able to do it in a seamless manner, not in the current approach that we hear and see, state officials attempting to virtually bulldoze their way through, when in fact there are existing arrangements.
Do we know the ground reasons the government put for this non-renewal, and are these reasons not, in the best interest of the nation? Even though people will lose their jobs, perhaps the nation will still stand to benefit?
Well, as a matter of fact, what we all hear and read are to the effect that the government says that the mining lease has come to an end. And if the mining lease has come to an end, whether you have a superior argument which requires some extension or not, government has so decided. And for that matter, there's no room for any extensions. The question of whether the decision government has taken or intends to take ought to be situated within some context. As we speak now, the question is whether the decision being taken in relation to Daman would have implications on other mines who have, active mining leases in their possession and for which reason they are doing business in Ghana. So you want to be careful that at the end of the day, you don't take decisions that would also send some uneasy, concerns down the investor community. So that at the end of the day, you also don't end up creating a lot more problems for the industry relative to what you probably would have intended. So it's a whole mix of issues, and so government itself ought to clarify its position so that the entire citizenry would appreciate where government's own new policy direction is. Investors need to know, both local and foreign investors must have an appreciation of where government's new policy direction is when it comes to mining in Ghana. But if, in the case of Newmont, this is the way you approach it, you leave every other person thinking what it will be when it gets to their tent. And therefore, as far as we are concerned, it's not too good for business.
Now, are you, as a union, going to lead some further discussions with the government on this matter, or that ship has since sailed?
Well, we are open to conversations with government on this matter. It is not just the union who should be concerned, particularly about the seeming policy direction or new policy direction of this current government. If indeed there's a clear plan, which is a more superior alternative to the existing arrangement, and government is convinced, there ought to be some serious stakeholder consultation so that there's a rallying point around which we all know that going forward, this is how things are going to be done. Nationalizing our mines, if that is government contemplation of the future of the mining industry in Ghana, then they ought to be a lot more elaborate in terms of their disposition or their approach to how things ought to be done. And that for us is extremely important so that you don't leave everybody in a limbo. Workers are a bit jittery now because if what is happening in Gold Coast could potentially happen in Newmont and Anglo, workers are quite concerned about it. You understand? So it's important that if that is government's plan, let's be open about it so that at least people, stakeholders within the space can begin to appreciate what the possible options would be in the future so that we can all begin to prepare, appropriately. But the question of whether we support localization, local content or nationalization, I don't think that we have been opposed to that. We believe Ghanaian participation or indigenous Ghanaian enterprises, and for that matter, their participation in the industry is useful. But there's a lot of work that ought to be done. We need to put in the right systems in place. We need to ensure that corporate governance is at the top of one of the key considerations, because I can assure you that most of the local businesses that we have in the system really do not have any corporate governance structures in place. And so they do things, excuse me my language, quite haphazardly, which is not too good for business. And I do not shy away from having these discussions, as far as the foreign interests and for that matter, foreign multinationals compared to our local businesses are concerned, because we need to up our game if indeed this is the contemplation of government in terms of the new direction for the industry. A lot of things ought to change. The systems must be well structured. Things ought to be done properly so that at the end of the day, if that is the direction we are going, we know that the long term or the long run, in the long run, we will get the full benefits of whatever new policy direction we intend to embark on.
Very well. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
That's Abdul Mumin Gbana, he's General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Richard Oforiajiman Boedi is the new mayor of Kumasi. He did his maiden press conference and made a statement that has got many people talking. Lots of attacks on his on his approach, and some praise, of course, from people who believe that what he intends to do is the right way. Let's listen to what the new mayor of Kumasi said.
As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station, they find their own means, and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then, we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me, we'll beat you.
We will beat you. Mr. Richard Ofori-Agyemang Boadi, Mayor of Kumasi, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening. I hope you are doing well.
Well, I'm safe from your whips, so I'm very, very well. I'm not sure about the people who risk being whipped by you, though. You said these things or those words at a press conference. Why?
Okay, so let me say good evening to your listeners and thank you for the opportunity. The intention is not necessarily to punish. The intention is for people to appreciate the enormity of the task and my determination to make sure that we position Kumasi for businesses to flourish, for investment to be attracted to our city, and for people to have hope that Kumasi territory.
Who or what was your motivation for making the statement that you made?
So let me say that I have been around for some time, and I saw the administration of Nana Akosua-Agyemang as mayor of the city. I saw Colonel Emmanuel Otri of Kumasi. I have seen Honorable Masoko Fijima. I've seen Madame Patricia PJ. I've seen Honorable Fosapong. I've seen Kojubos. I've seen the Honorable Osesibi, and I've seen Honorable Sampine. So I've had time to go through the various experiences that we have had in our quest to rid our city of filth and duty congestion. And I have come to this position that with the background of the people that I'm dealing with, I would have to go a bit back to the Akosua-Agyemang strategy, where the approach is a bit robust. That does not encourage people to first and foremost engage in unlawful activity. Note very well that if you begin that which is lawful, you dealt with.
Sir, sorry, forgive me, but the line is really bad. I don't know what's happening, but maybe where you are is not good. I don't know what you can do about it. But continue while you try and reposition yourself. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes. So you believe that going the Nana Agyemang era, Kwesi Agyemang era is
some good result.
Okay.
So and in Kumasi now, there's everybody when they say so.
And which year was Kwesi Agyemang the mayor of Kumasi?
During the Rawlings 94 to 1996 regime. Yeah.
So this was democratic era.
Yeah, this was democratic era.
And he was flogging people publicly?
No, he was not flogging people publicly.
But that's what you are saying. You said you flog people.
I have heard the leadership of the traders in Citi today. I engaged them on TV this evening. And I am happy at the kind of responses I'm getting from them. They themselves haven't heard the areas that I want to get people off. So I can clear the city of filth. The focus should be on me clearing the city of filth and making sure that at least, at the minimum, we'll be able to have some free flow of traffic a bit. I appreciate that because of the construction of the Citi Phase 2 market, there will be some spillovers onto pavements and onto streets. It is for this particular reason that I am not doing a comprehensive decongestion program. All I'm saying is that there are dual carriages within the central business district. Those who are on the pavement, I don't like their existence there. But for now, I am not going to touch them. But those who are in the median, those who are in the middle of the road, some are selling and cooking and selling all manner of food in the middle of the road in this age and time in a modern city, the country's second largest capital, the Sun country's commercial hub.
Okay.
It's not attractive.
So
I want to deal with it head on. So they themselves have begun talking to themselves and they have asked for an engagement, and tomorrow I'll start the engagement with them. Today I went to their site. Those people that I spoke with, they themselves voluntarily have decided to shift to areas that will be a bit acceptable to me for the time being. So that tomorrow we are starting clearing the city of filth. The Kumasi is engulfed in so much filth, and I want to deal with it immediately.
Sir, this your decision to lash people. You are representing the president in Kumasi. Did you check with him if this is an approach he endorses before you made the announcement?
Omar, I'm sure we're not getting there. You see, that people themselves have voluntarily...
No, but you see, you have made the pronouncement and you have not withdrawn that, which means it's an intention you are harboring. So the question is, do you have presidential endorsement for this?
Omar, you don't live in Kumasi, do you?
No, actually, I've not spent more than 2 nights in Kumasi before.
Every communication has background. I know the people I'm dealing with. Please help me to succeed.
I'll help you, but then when I know that what you are saying flies in the face of the 1992 Constitution, then I would not. And I'm duty-bound as a citizen not to.
Listen to me for a second. Listen, I don't want the discussion to encourage people to want to perpetuate themselves in areas that they are not supposed to be.
But I also don't want the discussion to be focused on you know, abusing people's fundamental human rights.
So there are people themselves that if I say that leave, and if you don't leave, I must undertake an activity, and then people themselves say that we are going to leave. Your 2 weeks is enough. Let's engage. Let's get the framework properly structured.
I'll ask a question again, sir. Okay, I'll ask a question still. Is the president aware that this is your intention?
We won't get to that point.
It doesn't matter. You've already made the statement. Was the president aware that this is your approach to fighting indiscipline?
Let the focus be on the end product. The end product is that I don't want you to come to Kumasi and say that the mayor that the president brought to Kumasi has made Kumasi so dirty that nobody wants to come and invest.
But you still haven't answered the question, sir. Is the president?
I want your reportage to be that 6 months after this man coming to Kumasi, Kumasi looks different. It looks clean. It looks sanitized.
So clearly for you,
the right atmosphere for businesses to flourish.
Clearly,
and I'm saying that the focus should be on the end product.
Okay. Clearly for you, the end justifies the means, and it doesn't matter whether the means mean, you know, infringing on people's rights. And I'm asking again, is the president your appointer? Is the president your appointer aware of this?
The people themselves have reached out to me.
No problem. I've heard what you said about the people. They could have said that out of fright, or maybe they really are happy what you're saying. But I just wanted to know. I wanted to know the level of approval you have for this position of yours.
Omaru, the people want to get off the street. I don't want cars to have big failures and they go and kill human beings. I don't want the place to be engulfed in filth. I don't want anybody to say that this administration has allowed Kumasi to deteriorate and we are so much endorsing rot. And I'm saying that the people themselves have bought into the idea for us to work to get a Kumasi that is clean, that is sanitized. And I am happy at the response. They themselves want to engage.
You mentioned the O2
we are going to engage them. We'll do that, which will give Kumasi the value for which we are in government.
You mentioned the O2 in your video, the overlord of Asanteman. Is he aware and has he approved of this statement of yours?
O2 wants to have a clean city, and I want to work to achieve that goal.
Did he say to you to go the approach you're going, sir?
I'm saying that I'm working to make sure that the city looks like Otumfor City, and I'll work to let it look like Otumfor City.
Okay. You want to clean the city regardless of the consequence to the people, to their rights. You don't care.
The people themselves are not proving difficult. They are responding to my desire. They're requesting to my quest to have a clean Kumasi, and they themselves want to help me. So I am happy that the people themselves are responding positively, and for tomorrow we are going to start the engagement. So what people are expecting, the apprehension, I understand. The apprehension, yes, it's okay. But the people themselves voluntarily want to help us to get results. And I'm happy that they themselves want to help us to get results. And we'll get results.
You are the chairman of the Kumasi Metropolitan Security Council. You said that you do not believe in using the police route in dealing with these matters. The police commander for your district or your local authority is part of your security council. They give you daily briefs. You are saying you do not believe in using the police approach. You would have your boys and you use them. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I have seen big congestions over time. You go and bring police and military to be on the street, and it comes at a cost to the assembly. You will be there. After a month, it will be a drain on the finances of the assembly, and you have to get rid of them, and they have to go back. And then you go back to the status quo. This I have witnessed countless times, more than 10 times. So I've learned from those lapses, and I'm saying that I am approaching it bit by bit. I'm not going to lump everything together and set myself up for failure. I'm taking it by bit. So when we work on the middle of the road, we clean the place, and everybody see that this is area is clean. Then we'll get to the next step. They themselves will voluntarily help us to get to there. So I'm saying that using police to do decongestion has not gotten us any meaningful results, and I don't want to repeat it.
So you are resetting and you are bringing your boys. Who are these boys?
The people themselves say they are going, so we won't get there.
No, but so does it mean you are withdrawing what you said earlier?
The people don't want to engage me in such a manner. They themselves voluntarily want to get out of the street. They themselves want to help me to clear the city, make it look clean, and have the short taken off all those years that we don't want to have them. And I want to go along with them.
Mr. Mayor, when you say your boys, who are these boys?
I'm saying that the people themselves, there are people in various security setups that we can put them together that to do what we want them to do.
Security setup, you said you do not plan to work with. Clearly, these boys are not security setup members.
I said various security setups.
For private security? Because you said you do not, the soldiers and the police hasn't worked in the past. So
there are private security setups within the country who operate within lawful means, and sometimes when the law allows them, they use minimum force. But I'm saying that the people themselves who I want to get rid of and clean the city, they themselves want to help me. If the people want to help me to get the result, I think we should all be happy.
Forgive me, but when you say you don't trust the police as a chief of the city, that's a problem.
You see, you are putting words in my mouth.
No, I'm not. You said that you don't believe in going the police route. That amounts to not believing in the police.
Using police to do decongestion, because I'll spend so much money on them. After a month, they would have to go back, and then we'll get back to the status quo. So let me do it bit by bit.
Finally,
see how sustainable it will be.
Finally, so
I don't believe in using police to do decongestion.
Very well.
I'll get back to the status quo.
So finally, this is what I see when I hear you on a hot afternoon in Swami, one of them, maybe wherever in Kumasi. You and a truckload of thugs would appear, and people who are selling on the pavements, you lay them on a table and lash them. That's what you plan to do.
That's not what I plan to do.
Picture for me, or paint the picture of what you intended when you said what you said.
What I intend to do is that when we get there in the middle of the road, we'll tell you, my friend, why are you telling you, go home, please don't come here again tomorrow.
If you come, we'll lash you.
Won't get there.
Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you so much, my brother.
That's Richie Doforia Jimanbwedi. He's mayor of Kumasi. Let's speak to someone who just descended as the regional minister for Ashanti, the Honorable Simon Osemensa. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much.
Would you sanction this position of a mayor if you were still Ashanti regional minister?
First of all, let me extend my greetings to your cherished customers, that's your listeners. And I wish to say that I'll work with the laws of the country. So whatever I do should be within the limit of laws and regulations. You know, one, as a mayor of Kumasi, you are the chairman of the Metropolitan Municipal Security Council. Sorry, Metropolitan Security Council. And as such, you have all the heads, that's the Metropolitan heads of the various security of agencies under you. And you can use them as and when you want. This issue that people normally see that when you work with the state security, they don't deliver. I don't believe in it. When I came initially, I was working with the mayor. We tried to decongest most of the places in Kumasi, including even the LOFM area where we have the Fort Bridge, the roads, and then Swami Runabout, and runabout that have been turned into shopping areas or trading areas. The difficulty I realized was that, that Tegetia Phase 1 is problematic. It's problematic in the sense that Tegetia Phase 1 was a lorry terminal. And as such, if you want to convert a lorry terminal into a market or shop, you need an alternative lorry terminal, which was not done then.
Question:
And
yes, go ahead, Land.
I will not answer it. I've said that one.
Yeah. My question was going to be that you know Ashanti region very well, you know Kumasi very well. Hearing this position of the mayor, what do you anticipate would be the reaction or response from the persons he's targeting if he showed up and started flogging them?
That he can even do it. He said it, but that he can do it. I'm telling you. He just said it, but that he can do it. So what he should concentrate on, first, we change the design. That's why you should have allowed me to explain this so that we will appreciate it better. Because it was a lorry terminal and it changed to a market or shop without an alternative lorry terminal. The survey that they did before the commencement of Kejetia Central Market Phase 1 had more than 1,000 commercial vehicles. Currently, the provision for parking space for commercial vehicles is maximum 108. So you threw more than 900 vehicles outside there in 2015. Where do you want them to go back? That caused the delay in the implementation of Phase 2. So we needed to change the design of Phase 2. So all the ground floor shops have been eliminated. So the whole ground floor of KJCR Phase 2 is meant for lorry park or lorry terminal of various categories. The concentration of the mayor and the regional minister should now be how to fasten the implementation of KJCR Phase 2. 2, we converted the first floor to traditional shops. The Phase 1 of over 8,000 shops. Tabletops there are only 400. Only 400. So we changed the shops on the first floor to traditional market tabletop because we've not reached the stage where people are selling cassava, plantain, yam, etc., even garden eggs, tomatoes, pepper, etc., in shops. So that we convert the whole first floor to tabletop.
Okay.
Then it can accommodate most of these people who are selling on the roadside.
So create a space for them and they would leave. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Then after that time, when you are driving them away and they say they won't go, you've made provision for them. That's why later I changed my position when I was driving them and said we will manage the situation until Phase 2 is completed.
Former Minister, just a quick yes or no. Would you at any point consider lashing them if they don't leave after all the steps have been put in place?
There's no law supporting it.
So you will not do it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You are welcome.
That's Honorable Simon Osei-Mensah, his immediate past Ashanti Regional Minister. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for the Tuesday edition of the Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Akusia Otre. The details now. Economist Professor Godfred Bockwin has described the staff-level agreement reached with the International Monetary Fund as a demonstration of good faith by the government. All this comes as the IMF and government have reached a staff-level agreement on the fourth review of Ghana's 3-year extended credit facility supported program. In an interview with Citi Business News, Professor Bockwin praised the government's approach despite missing some structural targets.
But if you also look at the proactive interventions from the new administration, practically using 9 months budget of 2025 to reverse the main fiscal anchor, the primary balance from a negative of 3.9% to a primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP within 9 months, okay, clearly demonstrate government commitment to bring the program back on track. Then again, they have also fast-tracked some of the structural reforms that were missed in 2024. They've used the first quarter of their administration essentially to bring all of them back on track.
That was Professor Godfred Bockwin, an economist. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen has assured that the government remains committed to implementing all program conditions under the Ghana IMF deal. Speaking during a press conference in Accra, Dr. Forsen noted that government is making progress with structural reforms aimed at building a more resilient economy.
These measures include the following. 1. We have commissioned the Auditor General together with 2 international audit firms to audit the payable and commitment to validate their legitimacy and value and provide recommendations for collective actions. The audit is expected to be completed in the next 8 weeks. We have passed an amendment to the Procurement Act to ensure that issuance of commitment authorization by the Ministry of Finance shall be a prerequisite for all central government procurement that comes under the Public Procurement Authority and the Central Tender Review Committee. We have also amended the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, to introduce a debt rule to reduce debt to GDP ratio to 45% by end 2035.
That was Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen. Now, the Ghana Hotels Association is pushing back against the utility tariff adjustments set to take effect on May 3, 2025, warning that the move could significantly strain the hospitality sector. According to the association, electricity alone already accounts for more than 20% of operational expenses for hotels. While speaking at a press briefing to launch the association's 50th anniversary celebrations, President of the Ghana Hotels Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike, urged regulators to reconsider their decision.
Utility tariffs, there's an increase in tariffs. And you see, we need to appreciate this thing about tariffs. A study has been done somewhere which says that percentage of the revenue inflows in the hotel industry for electricity should not exceed 6%. In fact, between 3 to 6% of your revenue inflow should cater for electricity. But we are in a station where over 15 to 20 to 25% of our revenue inflows goes into electricity. So now that there's a 14.5% increase, your guess is as good as mine. So it's an area that we really need to work with. And probably, I think you need to push the system to do a serious study over some of these things so that we appreciate the components of the cost build-up in the hotel industry. And then government can, in a way, exempt us from some of and find supporters.
President of the Ghana Hotel Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike. Now, government is set to deploy 5,000 graduates as extension officers from various agriculture and veterinary institutions across the country to support farmers in boosting productivity and adopting modern farming techniques. Well, the Minister of Food and Agriculture said the initiative forms part of the government's Feed Ghana initiative, which seeks to modernize agriculture. In an interview with Citi Business News, the Food and Agriculture Minister noted that the deployment of the extension officers is aimed at improving research-based agricultural practices.
We are also deploying our extension officers, and last Saturday, we mentioned that we want to bring on board 5,000 of our graduates from the agricultural colleges and then veterinary colleges who have been in the house doing nothing since 2015. We want all 5,000 of them to be part of the Feed Ghana program so that they will be deployed to the various farms to assist our farmers to adopt modern techniques of farming. In fact, we just want to bridge the gap between research and then practical farming in our country.
The minister also revealed that the country has received 300 tons of rice seeds from the Korean government, which will be distributed to farmers to boost local rice production.
We are supplying the seed that we want, the seed that our people have approved as the best for our soil to the rice producers and the maize producers. As we speak, we have received a donation of 300 tons of rice seed from Kopia. Kopia is a Korean company stationed in Ghana here and producing the seed here. They are located in Dowenya, and we are now distributing to the various areas, especially in the southern part of Ghana, where the farming season is on now. And then we are also preparing to distribute to the northern sector, which will start where the farming season will start in May. So we are giving them the seed.
That was Eric Opoku, Minister of Food and Agriculture, wrapping up the Citi Business News. On Eyewitness News, I am Akosia Ochre. Do stay with us. Up next is Point Blank.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Gugomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind said be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
The go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. I am Umaru Sandamar. Tonight on Point Blank, the government has revealed the significant economic benefits of the anticipated Kweu Business Forum, including increased revenue generation and expanded investment opportunities. Financial institutions are already lacing their boots in preparation for this year's forum, signaling strong interest from the financial sector. Citi FM's presidential correspondent Akosia Ochre sat with the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, for an exclusive interview on this particular subject matter ahead of the event which comes off on Saturday. Let's listen.
There's a big event happening this Saturday, April 19, and the government is spearheading this event. It is the Kwehu Business Forum 2025. This is the second edition, and we are fortunate to have the man who is the frontier when it comes to government business, the Chief of Staff, Julius Tepra. You're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing? You seem to be a very busy man.
Yeah, quite busy, but okay.
Anyway, this event is a second edition, the Kwehu Business Forum. For those who do not know what this forum is all about, first of all, why the Kwehu Business Forum, and what is this event all about?
Great, thanks for the opportunity. Every government sets out an objective to be able to leave a legacy. And so if there's a government that wants to be remembered for education, I remember Professor Mercer's time, he introduced what they call eliminating schools under trees. So at the end of the day, they'll be able to count that they were able to eliminate 1,000 schools or whatever. So President Mahama, one of the things he set out to do is that he had said that we are not doing enough as Ghanaians to boost our potential as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. And so his vision is looking at a situation where we'll be able to develop more SMEs owned by Ghanaians, and he intends taking advantage of the fact that the West African sub-region is huge, and so he will spearhead an export program. In fact, he calls it Accelerated Export Council, to be chaired by himself. Now, the whole idea is that so that we'll be able to send products produced in Ghana to the various markets, say Burkina, Mali, etc. But you need to start from somewhere. So the objective of this Kwehu Business Forum is to grow businesses. So at the end of the day, he'll be able to say that during my tenure as president, I was able to help, develop X number of businesses who are championing export and manufacturing. That does not mean that it's government who is going to establish the factories and industries. Ideally, it must be the private sector led, but he is more than willing to provide the necessary assistance to enable the private sector thrive. And so we set up this Kwehu Business Forum, inviting private participants, mainly from the small and medium enterprise businesses, to meet and brainstorm. He wants to walk the talk. So when we held the first one, he had promised that this year we're going to meet again to carry the objective forward. So what we've done this year is that he's invited invited most of the financial institutions, i.e. the universal banks and other institutions, so that their leadership, and surprisingly most of the managing directors and chief executives have agreed to come themselves. So they will be given a time, maybe 20 minutes each, to do a pitch, to talk about what the product they have that they think SMEs can benefit from. Alongside the forum itself is going to be an exhibition where all the banks have taken exhibition booths. We'll have their staff there to explain to participants the various products that they have. The icing on the cake is that during our first meeting with the banks, they themselves came out with a suggestion that, look, how about each of us selecting minimum of 5 enterprises and making sure we give them advisory services, we give them the credit needed, we guide them to grow their businesses. And so at the moment we have almost about 23 banks coming, and to make it extra grander, we got African Development Bank showing interest that they'll be there. We got Afro-Exim Bank also coming to mount their booth. And just this morning I heard that IFC, part of the World Bank Group, are also coming.
Okay. Before we talk about the role of these banks in this forum, what is the criteria for the selection of these SMEs to participate in this forum? And what kind of support are you talking about from the side of government given to these businesses?
That's right. Basically, there are no restricted criteria. You see, the truth is that what the human mind can do, unless you put to touch, you may not know. And so he's giving opportunity to anybody at all who believes that he has some business interests. No matter how small your business is, you are also allowed to come. Because just like the mustard seed, it appears so small, but once you plant it and you water it, all the big corporations you had started smaller, but people were able to keep to the vision and build it. So as far as criteria in selecting is concerned, so long as you are a Ghanaian business entity, be it an enterprise, be it a corporate, limited liability, you qualify to come. Now, it's from the conversation and deliberations with the banks that will lead people into maybe following up with EcoBank or following up with Exim Bank or following up with Venture Capital. When they finish explaining their products, then if Mr. Kofi is seated, he wants to establish a pharmaceutical company or pharmaceutical plant to manufacture drugs, then you see that the caliber of capital required will mean you need to speak to the Exim Bank or you need to speak to maybe Afro Exim or something like that. So to answer a very simple question, there are no criteria per se. Once you qualify and you have a dream to build a business, you are also invited to be there.
The theme for this event or this forum 2025 is the future of businesses, the role of the financial sector. You've mentioned the African Development Bank, Exim Bank and all of that. What specific role are they going to play in this forum?
Yes, as we all sit here, generally speaking, everybody says that, if you need support, go to the bank. If you need support, go to the bank. People may not even know that there are banks that even offer advisory services. They sit you down and teach you that, look, if you want to go into manufacturing, first you need to put a feasibility studies together. People don't know. They think they could just do it, and that's why most SMEs start and they fail, because they don't get appropriate guidance from the word go. And so these institutions that are coming, I believe they are all going to talk about the various things they can do to support the business community. And so it will depend on how one listens to them and the vision that one has that will let you take away something from the event.
Now you talk about support. How is government going to track the progress of these enterprises when you give them the support? After the forum and all of that.
Yes, the Minister for Trade and Agro-Business is also going to be there. And it is her mandate to see to the development of industries and all that. Why are we talking about this at the presidency? We're talking about it at the presidency and not at the ministerial level because it is the vision of the president. The president wants this done, and so he started a conversation here to let all his appointees know that this is something I have an interest in. Therefore, I will hold everybody accountable as to how you be able to do to ensure that it becomes to fruition. Now, if at the end of the event, definitely the data is going to be gathered, number of participants, and because we're doing this in league with the banks, so definitely it's not just going to be an event like one day and everybody goes home. No, there's going to be follow-up meetings. Okay. How many people came to you, ABSA? How many people came to you, EcoBank? Who are bankable projects? Who are serious? Who are not serious? And then because it's an objective of the government, and so government will make sure that constant consultations are held with these leaders of the financial institutions and then to push it. But for you to be able to assemble over 23 managing directors of a bank, it's not a child's play. That tells you something. If we don't get it right, it's going to be very challenging. But I believe we'll get it right because the president himself is going to be there and make sure that the right thing is being done. And some of the managing directors, just this morning, I just got off the phone with the EcoBank managing director. And she is even coming from another angle altogether. And she said, look, we need to excite people that running your own businesses could be exciting than even looking for unemployment. And so I see it's about time as a nation we take entrepreneurship seriously and move it. I don't want to maybe diplomatically I'll make a blunder, but I think most of the Saharan countries used to import most of their products from France and things like that. Ghana, because of the proximity to these countries. So for example, if they import sugar from France or Europe, and there is a sugar mill or plant in Ghana, what do you think can take advantage easily because cost of shipment from Ghana to Burkina or Niger is going to be lesser than shipping from Europe. Let's say out of this, Exim Bank decide to support a Ghanaian entity to go into dairy products, producing milk and stuff like that. Who do you think, if the quality meets ISO standards and everything, naturally we stand on edge to be able to sell our products to our neighboring countries than bringing them from America or Europe. We've been talking about this poultry thing. Yeah. If we do it right, can you imagine the quantum of money we'll save from importing frozen chicken from Brazil?
Great idea it is, but when you look at the culture in Ghana, we have this culture of neglect. I mean, we've seen factories grow here, we've seen businesses start beautifully, but at the end of the day are neglected. And a typical example is the Commander Sugar Factory. So what is going to be the mechanism to ensure that these businesses, if we pump in money, are going to be sustained for the longer term?
The truth of the matter is that all over the world, most successful, it's not constant though, most successful businesses are run by private people. The moment they see it as a public thing for government, the attitude, they say, government business, we don't carry on our head, we put on our shoulder. And so, and you don't forget that President Mahama is also coming from an entrepreneurship home. I've told this story before. His dad, at a point in time, was the leading exporter of rice in this country. So he's got an idea of what he wants to do. Now, the beauty of it is that as a president, he wants us for the, as part of the whole objective, to encourage the private sector to lead this. Right. So that it's not going to be government setting it up so you neglect it. But it's going to be you, the individuals, setting up, but the government creating the enabling environment for you to get access to credit. Tax regime system will be such that you will be encouraged to do it. And so this, answering a very simple question as to how this will not be neglected, is because they are going to own by the individuals. And I believe the individuals, if they do it well, let me give you an example. And
you hear the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, there speaking to our presidential correspondent, Akosia Ochri, on the Kwewu Business Forum, which comes off on Saturday. Well, invitation to everybody to come in there and take part and participate. Do the same if you can. That's by way of Eyewitness News for tonight. I am Umaru Sandamadu. I did this with Akosia Ochri. Production by Kobina Wilson, Beverlyn London, Sami Wiafe. With production support from Manuel Ayama and Juliana Odame Asari. The technical production led by Thomas Obindakun, aka Todd. New media support by Emmanuel Owusu and his new media team. Eyewitness News returns tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. If you missed any part of the show, at midnight tonight, there will be a repeat. You may listen again. Thank you for listening. It's been great coming your way. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you. Keep listening to 97.3 Citi FM, relevant radio always.